Good afternoon. It's our tradition here at St Peter Mancroft to have a short something every day at 1 o'clock. So on Mondays and Fridays we have prayers, on Tuesdays and Thursdays we have a short Eucharist service, and on Wednesdays we have a 10-minute reflection. My name is Naomi Tuma and I am the curate here, and it's lovely to see so many of you here. I am also live streaming this reflection, so that's a thing. Feel free to continue to look around the church if you are here as a visitor. So as I said, I'm the curate here, which means the baby vicar or the trainee vicar. And one of my jobs this week has been the planning and preparation of an afternoon tea for our welcoming team. One of the things I love about being a curate is the fact that we get to do things like organising afternoon tea, and I can call it work. In fact, going to afternoon tea and I can call it work. But we have a wonderful welcoming team here. Glynis and Jim are on today. They are at the back, and they do a wonderful job every Wednesday of welcoming visitors to our church. We have about 25 welcomers who take it on turns to welcome all the visitors. And we feel this is a really important aspect of what we do at St Peter Mancroft. We want everybody to feel welcome to come in and be able to enjoy this wonderful building, and particularly to have the space to pray and to make some connection with God in their busy lives. And we feel that welcoming people to the building reflects God's welcome of us, that God welcomes all of us whenever we turn to him. And we often say that Jesus' welcome is unconditional, that he welcomes everybody. It's quite popular to say how unconditional Jesus' love is and his welcome is. Now, I would agree that Jesus' love is unconditional, but I'm not entirely convinced that his welcome is unconditional. Because reading the Gospels, Jesus quite often gives a welcome and a challenge at the same time. Jesus welcomed everybody who came to him, and he definitely welcomed people who were unwelcome in other places. So we see Jesus associating with people who were seen as liars and thieves, the undeserving poor, the corrupt wealthy. Jesus is famous for hanging out with prostitutes and tax collectors. But I'm still not sure that his welcome was unconditional. In fact, I'm pretty certain he set some serious challenges for people who wanted to hang out with him. For example, do you know the story of Zacchaeus? Many of us will have heard the story of Zacchaeus as children. Zacchaeus, the short little man who climbed the tree to see Jesus. That's what we remember from Sunday school. But actually, that's not necessarily the most important part of the account of Zacchaeus' encounter with Jesus. Zacchaeus was basically a dodgy businessman who made his fortune by overcharging people. He was a tax collector, and in those days, tax collectors made their money by charging people the tax that needed to go to the empire and then adding a bit more in order to pay their own wages. And so it was a license to print money. And Zacchaeus was not an honest tax collector and gathered more tax than people liked, but then nobody really likes paying tax. Anyway, he did climb a tree, Jesus did see him, but Jesus' welcome wasn't unconditional. Jesus said, "Right, Zacchaeus, first of all, I need to come round to yours for dinner. So I'm coming to your house." And then during that dinner, Jesus persuaded him that he needed to return the money that he'd stolen, that he needed to change his ways, to pay back the people that he had cheated. So it wasn't an unconditional welcome for Zacchaeus, far from it. Another time, Jesus welcomes a respectable and honest young man from a wealthy family. This young man obeyed all the laws. He did everything right. And yet Jesus tells him that he needs to give away all his money before he can follow him. And in this case, the young man walks away. He can't come. He can't bring himself to agree with Jesus' challenge. So what is this welcome that Jesus offers? It is a welcome that welcomes everyone: men, women, gay, straight, able-bodied, disabled, clever, thick, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, rich or poor. All are welcomed by Jesus. But all are also challenged. Will you give up the things that make you feel secure? The things that make you feel like you're doing okay? For Zacchaeus, this was the power of being able to take what he wanted from others and call it business. The security of knowing that he was doing okay for himself, he could protect himself. For the wealthy young man, I don't think it was just the security of being financially comfortable, but it was also his self-confidence that he'd kept all the rules, that he'd done what was right, that he didn't need Jesus' salvation. And so Jesus welcomes all, but he also challenges some to recognize their need of him. So the question today is not really, does Jesus welcome all, but how do I respond to Jesus' welcome? Am I like Zacchaeus, recognizing that I need to change? Or am I like the wealthy young man who didn't think that what Jesus was offering was worth giving up his nice, respectable, secure life for? So that brings us to the question, what is it that Jesus is offering? Does the offer of salvation even mean anything in this day and age? It might not. It's not a language that we use. But some of these phrases might resonate more. One of the things that Jesus said was, "I have come that they might have life, and life in all its fullness." Well, that I can get on board with. That makes more sense than salvation. Another of Jesus' famous statements, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Well, that's a challenging one. A claim that we can only really connect with God through Jesus. And I do think that that's what Jesus is offering today, the opportunity to connect with God and to live our lives in the most fulfilling way. And both these phrases are a little bit woolly, but that's how it is with faith. We kind of work it out as we go. As for Zacchaeus, he worked it out by changing his business practices and changing his relationship with money. And the wealthy young man, he started by asking Jesus what he should do, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Couldn't recognize that he needed Jesus more than he needed his security. And often the challenge that Jesus gives alongside his welcome is the challenge to give up whatever security we have in our own lives, whether that's family, wealth, respectability. The challenge that we need Jesus more than we need anything else. I wonder if we are hearing that welcome today. I wonder if you are hearing that welcome today. Because whoever you are, you really are welcome. It's worth noting that the people that Jesus just welcomed, the people he didn't challenge, they were the ones who already knew that they had nothing of their own, no status worth holding on to, no financial resources to fall back on. These people were welcomed without challenge, welcomed unconditionally. Amen.